appreciative of that. We're glad to have you with us. We have a little bit of business to take care of before we get to your item, but we'll get that taken care of. I would like to call to order our meeting, and we have Shelley Nazer, Bob Hinkie, Brian Marble, myself, Michael Portman. Brian is the vice chair. That's Tyler Briggs and Bob Washburn. And Joe Chambers is usually a few minutes behind. I hadn't heard that he wouldn't be here, so I imagine he'll be joining us. I appreciate it. I would like to invite everyone to please stand with me as we go through the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Okay, we will move on to approval of our minutes. If everybody had a chance to look at that and see if you had any issues with it. Brian, can we open the minutes? I don't have my screen working for some reason. There's something haywire with it, so. Thank you. No issues. None for you?
Looks great.
So all the minutes look good?
Make a motion to approve the minutes to entertain it, April 26th meeting.
I have a motion that we approve the minutes for our April 26th meeting. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion by Tyler Riggs and a second by Bob Washburn. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. The next thing we will do is have public comments. I don't see that the public comment section is really for anyone who has anything in general, not necessarily an item thing. So we'd have you wait until your item comes up. Did we have anybody call in, Tyler, or messages, anything?
Nobody else yet.
Good. Good, thank you. Well, tonight we do not have any public hearing, no legislative action items, no administrative action items. We do have one study item, which is item number 1, is the rezone of parcel 02-096-0038. The Providence Planning Commission will discuss a rezone application for parcel 02-096-0038, C38, excuse me, which seeks to rezone from R11 to R110. And so, Brian, are you going to give us the overview?
Scarlett is on if she wants to, or I can.
Okay.
Scarlett, did you want to?
Can you hear me okay, Ryan?
Yes, we can.
Okay. The overview is actually in the staff report that I think everyone got. And the applicants, when Tyler emailed out the agenda, the applicants should have got a copy of that as well. The staff report goes through state and city code. What it comes down to is that in looking at the general plan, and I'm looking on page 4 of the staff report, in looking at the general plan, this didn't anticipate that we would make a zoning change. That's currently zoned single family estate, R11, and it doesn't anticipate that we will make a change. However, the framework map in the general plan suggests the preferred scenario for this area is neighborhood residential development, which this request would provide for. And then the moderate income housing plan, if we look at that, 300 South is a road, improving 300 South with the roadside pathway helps improve pedestrian safety, walkability, and accessibility on city streets, rights of way and easements, which is one of the principles in our general plan. The parks, trails, and master plan. This property is within 1/4 mile of a local park, which is Meadow Ridge Park, within 1 mile of 2 neighborhood parks, Alma Lenhart and Uptown Park, and within 1 regional park, which is Zollinger Park. So it's in an area that has pretty good park access. The housing around it is similar to what they're asking for, very similar. On page 5, it talks about the transportation plan, shows what a possible roadside pathway could look like. It talks about our water rights plan, our water master plan, our stormwater plan, our culinary master plan. This area was taken into account for all of those plans. As development comes in, the applicant will be asked to give us a calculation based on state averages for water needs for the homes that come in. And then they will either be required to dedicate water rights or water shares or pay a fee in lieu at that time. So that follows right along with our 40-year water right plan. The master plan on the wastewater and the culinary water, both of those, we realize that there are certain improvements that need to be done at some point in the future, and we have those scheduled out. And we had an impact facilities fee, or excuse me, an impact facility plan as part of these master plans. And so if the change is approved and when development comes in, those homes will be charged with impact fees consistent with our master plans for wastewater and culinary water. And then on the stormwater plan, as development comes in, the developer will have to provide for the stormwater. This area, as I said, was considered in the stormwater plan. And so the developer will just have to provide for whatever stormwater his individual development makes. There are not any extreme hazards as far as sensitive areas with this lot. And then it just goes a few pages further. Talks about the comparisons between the use chart and the area regulations. And I don't know if you want to get into that tonight, or if you just want to let the applicant talk about their reasonings and whatnot for the request, and then get into this more when you hold the public hearing. But either way, we can do that. I just would review the conditions really quick. Before making a recommendation to the city council, the planning commission shall hold a public hearing. And then if there's any other additional comments that come out of this meeting or the public hearing, also the comments in Aaron Walker's letter that is part of this staff report dated 4/20, the applicant, as he moved forward in through the development and zone process, first the zoning process and then the development process, would need to address all of those. So some of those are premature, more FYI notices that we would look at if the property is rezoned and a development application comes in. And then the final condition is one of the important ones, that the applicant shall meet all applicable city, state, federal laws, codes, rules. Approval of the city of any application submitted or paperwork does not alleviate the owners and or their agents from their responsibility to understand and to conform to local, state, and federal laws. Providence City's approval is not intended to and cannot be construed to allow any laws to be violated. So that's kind of a briefish summary of the staff report. Do you have any questions you want to cover?
Very good. Thank you. I would just say we miss you not being here, but I hope you're having fun wherever you are.
I'm actually in Vernal, and it's a very nice day here, but I'm down here to the planners conference. So it's been interesting.
Great. All right then. Yes.
Carla, this is Brian. Scarlett, this is Brian. This application is strictly for rezoning, is that correct?
That's correct. There's no development plans that have been officially submitted. That's why, if you may want to not go into a lot of other stuff and just chat with the applicant about what his intention is.
With that being said, does anybody have any other questions for Scarlett? Based on what she's given to us and what we've had a chance to review.
One of the condition talks about a public hearing.
Yes,
That
that's
public
part of the,
hearing?
that's part of the process.
Oh, okay, thanks.
That would be our next step in the process.
This is Bob Washburn. On page 6 and 7, there's a little GIS parcel summary illustration that talks about liquefaction potential. And it's got some colors on there, and I don't really understand what it's talking about or how I read that. I don't know if it's important at this point, but
It's not necessarily, I mean, it's always good to know the features that are underneath the ground. The county parcel zoning viewer makes us aware of possible scenarios prior to development. They would definitely have to let us know. They would have to come in probably with a geotech. It depends what our city engineer feels like, but we would want to make sure that they knew that what they were going to build would be stable at that point. It's just part of the process. So looks like there is the potential for some liquefaction. Our Providence City code scale, Providence City calls for high to extreme liquefaction. And so this is marginable as whether it meets the threshold for our code as sensitive area, because most of it looks like it's moderate and where ours calls for high to extreme. But I put it in there just as a FYI for you.
The house is in the left. Probably the bottom left part of the orange.
Yeah, there's one of your maps that you got, show it where it is actually on there. So
right, yeah, I've driven by and seen it. It just kind of confused me a little bit.
It makes it look like that.
yeah.
So thanks, Scarlett. That's fine.
All right. Anybody, any other items or questions? Concerns? I think, thank you, Scarlett, very much. Appreciate it.
Welcome.
All right, we would invite Jeff or Carol or both, or whichever one of you would like to come up and really just kind of give us an idea.
Extra points if you come up.
Extra points, okay. I'm the project manager.
And you just want to state your name since it's,
Jeff White, 380 West, 300 South. So we've lived here for years. And the past 3 or 4 years, we've had developers wanting to buy the property, do what we're doing. And real estate brokers also wanting to buy part of the property. So when we're started to talk about the bike path going through and everything, I'm a project manager, so I look ahead. I'm thinking, well, we should take an equity rather than somebody else and stub it in for the sewer and water, so we don't have to dig up the street for somebody later on. So we thought we might as well see if we could do the rezone right now rather than later on and plan for the future. So there's, if we don't live long enough, somebody else is going to do it. So
Yeah.
that was our idea. So,
thank you.
all right.
And it's a, hang on in case anybody has any
And
questions.
we don't want to develop it right now
Yeah.
because we have a horse to feed.
Yeah.
And so it would be developed with the parcels after we're gone, probably, not usually, but we would need to go through all
Well, that's a good idea. So we have a bike path scheduled going that way, which,
We do have a bike path scheduled to go right in front of their house.
and
That's correct.
will we be putting sidewalk and stuff in and the
The
ditch?
bike lane is not on a sidewalk.
What's that?
The bike lane is not on a sidewalk.
So that would-
Curb and gutter,
Yeah,
and it's not there now.
Yeah.
Curb and gutter.
and it wouldn't be
And
until
sidewalk. right.
he went through for develop it. If he at some point comes through for that, is when they would the city would require the sidewalk and stuff? Or is
I'd
that,
have to look to see if we have a sidewalk through it. If we have the right of way, we'll have the sidewalk through. I think it's actually planned, but it's not, the bike lane isn't, they're not connected.
It's not part of the,
But I think the project does have a sidewalk
I
through.
thought so.
I think it does. I think we're putting that in as we widen that road. We're looking to take a bike lane through there and connect it into 165. And this is a pinch point in where it hadn't been developed. And so we've taken that, gotten some funds to help us, and we're looking to put in some bike lanes. But that is one spot that we will widen the road, put in a bike lane. And I believe the sidewalk will accompany that. I'm
Apparently,
pretty sure.
bad accidents there. in the last couple of years.
There have
It's been
been.
in there early.
well, that's a good
That's
idea.
what's driving.
Right. I think it's a good idea too, to look ahead. They go ahead and stub through so we don't have to tear it all up later and then redo it, repair it and stuff.
Yeah.
So, super.
Anyway,
Yeah.
that's what's driving it. We put it off.
Yeah.
Simple. Thank you so much.
Anybody, anything else? Anybody, any questions? So the horse will get its own lot and everything?
Still the apples like.
All right. If nobody has anything else, thank you.
Oh,
Jeff.
sorry.
Yeah, appreciate it. All right, so our idea tonight really is to look at this and see what we think, and after hearing from Scarlett, and everything looks pretty good, and that it does meet within our master neighborhood plan and so forth. We look at the rezone, and if and when they decide to do something with that, at least that, and also it matches the area, a lot for those are R10 lots, I believe, that are down there, all right around there. And so forth. So anybody thoughts, anything about it?
Seems like a logical thing to do.
Yeah, it would match the rest of it. And these were some of the earlier developments there and some of those other neighbors along that road as well. As you come farther south, is when you get into the garden subdivisions, garden developments and on from there. But that was some of the original stuff. So it would be good to match it as well.
I think it makes a lot of sense to set that zone now so that, a developer doesn't come in 15 years from now and try to apply for a higher density.
Yes.
And it also, we'll have a public hearing, and I
Yes.
assume that, unless you all have talked to all the neighbors already, that people will maybe have an opinion on this, but it can be good for them to have the runway where, say, nothing's gonna happen now. At least there's no plan for anything right now, and if you really feel like this ruins your life, you can sell your house sometime in the next 10, 15, 20 years.
For sure.
Well, and the fact that it isn't coming in for high density, that seems to be the igniting point. Coming in as R10 lots, which is what the majority is to the south.
Yeah. Like
And so forth. Yeah, so it matches. So maybe you might have a group show up and support you in the plan. But I do think it fits well with everything, and I like the idea of getting it done and some things happening as you look to the future. All right. So really, nobody has anything else? I think the next step is, and I don't think we have to vote on anything here, is that correct?
You don't necessarily have to, but it's good for you to pass it on to a public hearing. That's what we're looking for. Generally, we would say, are you ready for this to go to a public hearing, or do you want to study it more? But that's what we're looking for, is direction that this is to be taken to a public hearing next.
That would be the next step. And the requirement is that neighbors will be notified that are close to you, like some of the letters you've received for some of the stuff that's taking place out that way. And then Tyler posts notices like we have down the street for a couple of other things. And at least it's at least a 2 weeks given for people to be made aware of it and plan for it. But do you feel like you would like to go to the next step and have that public hearing so that once that's done, the next step then really is us to vote on that, and then we make our recommendation to the city council.
Yes, we'd like to proceed, and if we need to help out with the infrastructure,
Yeah.
to stub everything in.
Yeah.
We can do that, whatever's appropriate.
Okay.
Cities.
Sounds very good. So Tyler, you'll look at the calendar. What do you think would be best?
I think our safest bet would be June 14th.
Okay,
Possible conflicts on the 24th. That only gives me 2 weeks. And
right.
I think your next regularly scheduled date is June 14th.
Does that work good for you guys?
Yes.
Okay, because we would want you to be here as well for that, at least one of you and so forth, everything. So I think we consider, we need to make a recommendation that we move toward it. We recommend the open.
Yeah. If you have that, if you have a motion,
Make a motion that we hold a vote, to recommend the staff schedule a public hearing for this matter of a rezone of parcel 02-096-0038, rezone from R11 to R110.
We have a motion by Tyler,
I'll second that.
second by Brian Marble. All in favor? Any opposed? Now, the only thing is we may have to bring in volunteers because I think a lot of us are very familiar with Jeff and close ties with him. So I may have to recuse myself, but anyway. But thank you. So that goes. We betcha. The last thing I think really that we have is that Tyler prepared for us our annual ethics pledge that we need to do, and then also our summary of any conflict of interest disclosures, things like that. So we have a couple of choices. If we are ready and you understand it all, you can sign it and leave it with him tonight. If anybody wants to take it home, study it out, things like that, that will work as well. And we just let Tyler know what we need to do.
You need to swear us on it or?
No, you guys send it to me.
I'm not done.
All right. So with that, we would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn until next time. Planning Commission on May 10th, 2023.
Close this meeting. Do we know if we're going to have one for the 24th, or have we
As of
looking
right,
to avoid that?
Scarlett would know better, but I don't
Okay.
know.
I think we're trying to not do it because of all the activities going on, but anyway, we'll see.
I don't think we'll have anything. I haven't received any updated. I'm waiting on the applicants. They've received their reviews, but I haven't received their revised information. So I don't think we'll have anything.
Sounds really good. Well, thank you very much, and we will close our meeting tonight. This has to be a record.
I'll
We have to have a
second.
vote. Will we have a second? All in favor?